Guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
First one is titled, McDonald's Karens. This happened about 6 years ago, and I only remembered it because I just learned today that McDonald's also do pumpkin spice latte, so I went to try. Sadly, I was disappointed with today's adventure. Got served lukewarm burnt-flavored coffee, but was already home when I first tried it. Oh well. A bit of backstory. This takes place in a city that is near the border to both France and Switzerland, and is also considered a university city, so there are always a lot of people, and the customers involved were speaking in French. I can understand it when I really pay attention but can't speak the language. At the time, I was in an apprenticeship for graphic design, and within 5 minutes from the school I had been attending, there is both a Starbucks and McDonald's. I was in my last year, which meant long school days could last anywhere between 5 to 6 p.m., and on such a day, I went out to get a much-needed energy boost, and for me, that comes in the form of chai lattes rather than coffee. During my break, I was just going to pop into the nearby Starbucks, grab me a grand chai latte, then return to study, do some catch-up work, or get ahead on some projects, whatever. Sadly, it was packed. They were literally lined about the door, which is not too unbelievable for the city. So I decided to try the next best location, McDonald's. They were also packed, but on this day, the cafe was luckily empty. So, with that, I head in and wait behind this group of 4 young women. As the title says, they were Karens or Karens in the making. There was only one worker behind the counter, and these women were upset because they couldn't get what they wanted. I can't remember if it was out of stock or if the machine required in making was out of order, but these Karens were not having it. They were demanding to speak with someone in charge, but without letting her leave to get said person, only to get even more upset when said person in charge was not appearing. This worker was obviously exhausted and was constantly suggesting that they order something else. I think it took 5 minutes of her repeating, "I'm sorry, but you'll have to order something else," before they finally relented, but not without saying that they wanted said orders not only uprated, but for free for wasting their time. While they were doing that, she asked me what I wanted, so I placed my order. Boy, did that set those Karens off, especially seeing the workers start working on my order. So they rushed to the counter and placed their orders. Thankfully, McDonald's cafe is not so free with customization as Starbucks is, at least it's not to my knowledge, but they sure did go for the more complicated items on the menu. All the while, being sure to remind this poor worker that they wanted it all upgraded for free. This girl said the only way that could happen is if they had ordered something, started eating/drinking it only to realize that there was something wrong with their orders, otherwise they would have to pay. She even withheld their orders until they finally coughed up the money. They grumbled as they retrieved their orders and chose a table that was within sight of the counter, so they could loudly complain the entire time and shoot this poor girl nasty glares. The worker asked if I was all right with waiting a few minutes, so she could quickly go to the bathroom, and while I did want to just get my order and start heading back as I had nearly waited the entire half hour watching the mess with the Karens, I agreed. At this point, I figured, if I was late, a few more minutes wouldn't hurt. She came back, looking much refreshed and far more calm, and looking eager to finish my order. A few minutes later, she places a cup on the counter and telling me the cost. It took me a few seconds before realizing that the medium that I ordered was now $1,000. Me, I only ordered a medium though. Worker, I know, I just wanted to apologize for the long wait and any problems you had while here. Me, oh, and how much is the $1,000 again? Worker, no. It says in the system a medium, so you only have to pay for a medium. I hope you have a great day. With a wink, the worker left after giving me my change and returned to the main part of McDonald's, leaving me with a free upgrade while the Karen stared at me in absolute shock. Next one is titled, Family Friend Shows Up at My Grandmother's Just for Food. This happened roughly 4 or 5 years ago. By now, my family has not talked to her in years. My grandmother is the type of person that doesn't want anybody to be hungry. You even mention it as you are about to leave, and she'll stop what she's doing and go get you food. I love her, but this friend went too far. So, there was this lady we'll call Marg. She had a habit of randomly showing up at my grandmother's house. This is fine because her house tends to be a place people go to visit and such, but she would show up about 3 or 4 times a week, eat their food, and leave. Well, she even started bringing a friend, and when my grandmother wouldn't make something, you could tell Mark got visibly upset. There were times my grandmother would just wait for her to leave before she started cooking. There was one time my cousin, who helps my grandmother a lot, made steaks. Mark ate one without asking, even though there was only enough for the planned people there, complained about how dry it was, and went back for another one. My cousin's husband that works late did not get to eat that night. Another time I had a small birthday party at my grandmother's house. I love her, and she was more than happy to celebrate my birthday with her. That particular day, there were a lot of cars in the driveway. Guess who just had to stop by and see what was going on? You guess it. I was standing on the porch with my grandma whenever Marg walked up. My grandma said, "Yeah, it's my name's birthday." Marg said, "Oh, okay." Then proceeded to walk past me, saying nothing, and goes to the kitchen to grab food. Never once told me happy birthday. Another time is when my family was at a wedding. There was a round table with 6 or so chairs. My family sat down and filled up all the chairs. Marg walks up and starts talking and then says, "Hey Sally, why don't you get up so I can sit here?" Everyone is baffled. Everyone sitting at that table is close family who has grown up together, and Marg, a family friend, claims that she needs that seat more. My grandma and everyone else there told her no and that she can find somewhere else to sit. Later on, my grandmother even told her that she needed to stop coming around so often just to take food. She is not a free restaurant to take your friends. Needless to say, she doesn't come by anymore. Thank God. Next one is titled, "They wouldn't let us take an emergency call because the kid wanted to play inside the ambulance." I once had a mom ask if I could open up the back of our ambulance so her kid could see what was inside since he wanted to be a firefighter. I'm a medic, not a firefighter. I agree as long as he doesn't touch anything. Of course, the second the doors open, the kid hops in and goes straight for our expensive monitor. I tell him no, that it's dangerous and could break, to which he starts screaming, "I don't care, my mom will buy it." And the mom says, "It's fine, just let him play with it. If it breaks, I'll replace it." I had to physically pick him up and carry him out of the ambulance since she didn't even try to control him. While this is happening, we get paged out for a call, and this which suggests that she could pay double our hourly wage if we stay for a few more minutes, so her little brat could explore/destroy more of our equipment. Duck out Tagir with that shitty lady. You're willing to delay an ambulance, so you won't have to deal with precious little Joey's tantrum. Unbelievable. Next one is titled, "Her mom was stealing all her expensive clothes for her." I went to high school with a girl everyone envied because she always had the latest style, the brightest colors, and newest at items. One day out of the blue, she asked me if I wanted to come over after school. We weren't even friends, but I was nicer to her than most. I said sure, and her mother was going to pick us up. About 20 minutes of waiting, I said, "Why don't we just walk? Your house is only about 5 blocks away." She said only the poor walk, and I said guess I'm poor cause I walk everywhere. She finally got tired of standing in the heat and we started walking. 2 blocks down, here comes her mom barreling down the sidewalk and apologizing like crazy that my baby had to walk. I just rolled my eyes, in my head silently. The mom explained that her car was repoed just as she was going out to get in it, and there must be some mistake because they have fat bank accounts looking at me and wait till your daddy gets home, we'll own that company. We finally reach her house and it's very small, nondescriptive, and has all the blinds lowered. We enter and to my surprise, the house is empty. No furniture, no TV, nothing. We go to the girl's room, and she has a mattress on the floor with just a sheet and dirty old panda pillow. No curtains, nothing. Her clothes are laying on the floor in piles like she's using the floor as a dresser drawer. We go into the kitchen to get a soda, and the kitchen is bare with just paper plates, bowls, and cereal boxes. In the fridge is nothing but sodas. I'm in shock and tell her I better be getting home, and she walks me out the door and says don't pay my house any mind. We have money, we just choose to spend it on clothes instead of things, less cleaning that way anyway. I just nod my head like yeah sure, say my goodbyes and hurry home. I can't wait to get on the phone and tell all my friends what I just saw. She'll be the laughingstock of the school, her and her pretentious ways. I hurried home. Halfway home I actually got to feeling sad that she felt she had to lie to be accepted, and in reality, she had nothing but clothes, so I decided I wasn't going to say anything bad, poor girl. And I never did. A few years later, I saw in the paper where her mother had been arrested for shoplifting at a clothing store, and it all made sense why she had tons of nice clothes, but no furniture, etc. How tragic a life. Next one is titled, She Got the Wrong Lexus and Had Multiple Meltdowns as a Result. A girl I knew in college was the spoiled brat of divorced parents. Her stepmother couldn't have kids and married the girl's father when the girl was a toddler, so stepmom spoiled her baby rotten. There was the typical paying for her school expenses, including college tuition and whatnot, but the summer before her junior year she decides she wants a car. Her dad says no. She throws a tantrum. Her stepmom buys her a Lexus. This girl gets home from a spray tan in July. Yeah, she was freaking weird, and discovers the new Lexus in the driveway of the house she's subletting for the summer is now hers. Except it's not what she wants. She throws a freaking monstrous tantrum on the front lawn because that's not the car she wanted. She wanted a red car and some other model. Her parents are trying to calm her down, and she's cried so many tears she's ruined her spray tan. Her dad and stepmom take the car back. She continues to witch about not having a car, how she needs a car, that she's a ducking adult who needs to drive to do anything fun. Initially, we thought they took it away for her ungratefulness. A week later, her dad calls. He just happened to be driving around and saw a car for sale in the make and model she wanted. Only it was white. This witch has another meltdown. Ruining her second spray tan, she got to fix the first one. In July? Because she felt left out of the finding and purchasing of her car because they were doing everything without her. Her stepmom came up again, 3-hour trip by the way, and took her shopping for a car. It took the girl the entire weekend. Then after her stepmom left, she had the gall to complain that they clearly didn't love her because they just didn't know what she wanted right off the bat. She was also 19 and dating a married doctor from the local hospital. I just blatantly avoided her after that summer. Next one is titled, She Has a $500,000 house but considers herself homeless. I grew up with a rich girl who never had a realistic view of the world. Her wedding gift from her parents was a $500K house built to her specifications. The house took a year, maybe 2, to build, and during that time she and her husband lived at her parents' mansion. They had an entire floor to themselves. It was about 2,000 square feet and it consisted of a kitchen, 2 bedrooms, a rec area, etc. Did she realize how good she had it? Of course not. She spent the entire time lamenting on Facebook about how hard it was to be homeless. That was a few years ago. She still posts as someone who used to be homeless. Comments while sitting in her fancy, custom-built $500K house. The only reason I haven't unfollowed her yet is that she's like a train wreck that's impossible to look away from. Last one is titled, She Drove her brand new car through the soccer field and got it stuck. Sure, from time to time, we get a little impatient when traffic is backed up. Perhaps you've zoomed around a few slow cars or decided to take a faster route. But driving through a soccer field, this girl is nuts. A girl I went to high school with got downgraded to a new lipstick red Charger because she crashed her SUV into a parked car while going 40 in a neighborhood, while texting. One day after school, she tries to beat the normal traffic of kids trying to get out of the back parking lot and decides to cut around them by driving through the grass near the soccer field. No one would let her in, and her car ended up getting stuck from the mud. Had rained earlier. So what did she do? She abandoned her car and found one of her friends to give her a ride home. It ended up getting towed, and she got an in-school suspension for quite a bit of time. Her parents had to pay for some stuff, but yet she still had the Charger. Thanks for listening.